Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. This time I am going to continue talking about Oscar-winning movies, but in this particular case, I'm going to be discussing the entire movie series because it spawned an entire series of movies. This one Oscar-winning film, and it's 1976 Oscar winner Rocky, and of course, it's like I said, it spawned an entire movie franchise. Of course, the original one, of course, was stored by the guy who wrote the story, that's Sylvester Stallone, and of course by Rocky, of course, and also starred Burt Young, Burgess Meredith, Cole Weathers, Talia Shire, and of course, like I said, Burgess Meredith played Mickey, his trainer, and also look closely and you see Sylvester Stallone's brother, Frank Stallone, not in the first one, but in the first, really in the first three films, you see a cameo. Anyway, like I said, the first film came out in 1976, and Rocky is about a club fighter, which Rocky Balboa was. His name was Rocky Balboa, and he got a chance to fight, the heavyweight champ for the title. And the reason why this movie came about, was that Sylvester Stallone wanted to write a boxing movie, and he was watching a fight between then champ Muhammad Ali versus Chuck Wepner. So Chuck Wepner was known as the Bayonne Bleeder because all he does is he hit him once, he gets cut and he starts bleeding like crazy. Well, Chuck Wepner had no chance of being Muhammad Ali, and it's true he lost the fight. But the thing that was novel about that fight was that Chuck Wepner went the full 15 rounds. In that time, back, championship matches were 15 round matches, not 12 like it is today. And at one point during the fight, Chuck Wepner hit Ali and knocked him down. So he thought it was great that this guy had no chance of winning, knocked down arguably the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time. So that inspired Sylvester Stallone to write Rocky. And of course, at first nobody wanted to give him a chance because they liked the story, but they didn't want Stallone to star in it. But United Artists gave the chance to agree to that. So he did star, of course, and he became an international movie star because of that role. And the first Rocky film, and the original film, was directed by John Alverson, who later on would direct the fifth movie in this series. And then won only three Academy Awards, which is like one of the smallest amounts that any Academy Award winning movie has won. And in particular, Oscar ceremony. He won for, of course, Best Picture, Best Director, and I think for Best Screenplay. I'm not too sure the third one, but I know that's one of the few Academy Award winning films that doesn't have any actor winning an acting award. I'm talking about either the Best Lead Actor or the Supporting Acting Awards. And of course, more recent movies have done that, but in recent years, like the Lord of the Rings movies and Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and Titanic, both movies won 11 Academy Awards, but not one for acting. And that's what Rocky did. Of course, I mean, a Ball of Mike was an inspirational film at the time in 1976, and became iconic when he ran up the steps of the art museum. Of course, every year since, on New Year's Day, people run up the steps like Rocky. And of course, it became popular that 3 years later. And of course, after it won all the Academy Awards, they said, okay, that's right. Now, I guess, I'm not sure if they pushed to write a sequel or not. But he decided to write a sequel, and it took like 3 years to do another one. And it became was Rocky 2, and United Artists were upset because it was almost like a carbon copy of the first film. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. The reason why Rocky was picked for the fight was because Apollo Creed, played by Carl Weathers, was a former football star, picked Rocky because the original fighter that he had for the fight on New Year's Day supposedly broke his hand, and he wanted to pick a white underdog fighter, a white fighter who had no chance to beat him. And he liked the name, well, not so much the name Rocky Balboa, but he liked his nickname, the Italian Stallion, so that's why he picked him. But originally, his manager wanted to talk him out of it because Rocky was left-handed, but he wanted him anyway. So after the success of the first one, 3 years later they made Rocky 2. The United Artists was upset over the fact that it was almost like a carbon copy of the first one. And it was. But by the beginning of the reason why I like the Rocky films, unlike other big-time movie series, except for maybe my previous reviews of Star Trek 2, 3, and 4, they followed each other. Like 3 followed 2, and 4 picked up where 3 left off. While in the Rocky series, except for Rocky 6, all the movies picked up right where the last one left off. That's what Rocky 2 did. They showed the fight, they ended the fight, and of course during the opening credits, they saw Rocky and Apollo being transported to the hospital, and they were in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And of course after that, Rocky proposes to Adrian and they get married. And then of course they show the impact with Apollo. And the reason why Apollo wanted to go after Rocky again was the fact that a lot of people thought that Apollo had the fight fixed in the first film. And so how much did they pay you to carry that bump for 15 rounds? And that type of thing. So Apollo wants to fight him. And everybody wanted to talk him out of fighting Rocky again. Particularly his trainer. He says, "What are you afraid of?" And he says, "Well, I saw you beat that man like I never seen anybody get beat before. And he kept coming after you." And of course Paul says, "Do you think I won the previous fight?" And so Paul and his trainer says, "You got a decision." And Paul bangs on the desk and says, "I won, but I didn't beat him." Because he wants to show the world that he could beat him. You shouldn't knock him out. So he kept, throughout the rest of the movie, to the fight, he kept beating him to fight him again. And of course, for the rest of the movie, you see Rocky doing his odd jobs. He worked at the meat plant. He worked for Mickey for a while in the gym. He's doing all these things to, earn a paycheck. And people kept insisting for him to go back and fight. He didn't want to fight. And Apollo wanted to go fight Rocky again. And everybody on Apollo's side tried to talk him out of it. So it's kind of an interesting little mix I picked up on. And of course they did have the fight, and of course that was the one that kept the trend of Rocky winning all the time. But in the first film, Rocky didn't win. But of course all the other movies except for the sixth one, he won and kept winning. So of course he won at the end. Of course this movie where it ends with Rocky holding the belt. He says, "Yo, Adrian, I did it." And of course, it also introduced, not only did Rocky and Adrian get married, but she gave birth to Rocky Jr. now. So of course, once again, 3 years later, you had another Rocky movie, Rocky 3, which introduced the world to 3 things: Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, and the rock band Survivor and the song "Eye of the Tiger." It was all in that movie. And I thought that Rocky 3 was the best movie of the 3. And of course, also 1982 was a big year for Sylvester Stallone because he saw another franchise that came out that year, which was the Rambo movie. The first Rambo movie came out that year as well, so it was a big year for Stallone. And of course, that one started off, he was a champ. He was a champ for 3 years. He fought 10 guys, won all 10 fights. of course, it also introduced the world to Mr. T. And how Hulk Hogan got into that movie was this was even before Hulkamania. Because Hulk Hogan wasn't even a champ in the WWF at that time until 2 years later in 1984. So it was even before he was even a champ in wrestling at that time. It was like 2 years before then, it was 82. And Hogan didn't become a champ the first time to 1984. Was that because Hogan, Stone saw Hogan wrestle on TV and liked him and wanted to hire him to do the Rocky movie, to do the third one. And Hogan thought he was putting him on. And then he wrestled in Europe for a while, comes back, wrestles in Madison Square Garden in New York City, and Stone saw him again and said, "This is part that wasn't real." So, in fact, it was real, and so he, of course, he did the movie and became a big hit of the movie. But Vince McMahon says, "Hey, maybe this guy could be a champ and carry us," because Hogan was great in the film. He was like an over-the-top heel. The heel wrestler was, of course, the least favorite. Was hated by the fans. So he became a heel, with the WWF when he became champ. But he had his friend, Mr. T, who was, of course, later on going to be 80. Was the villain in this one, and what the opponent was like a young fighter, young hungry fighter, and he was a brutal guy, and he challenged Rocky to a fight on the day when they dedicated the famous Rocky statue by the art museum, which the statue was supposed to be just an art movie prop, but it became popular, so they kept it at the museum for a while, and then they moved it. The museum didn't want it there anymore, so they moved it to the Philadelphia Spectrum, and now the statue is in the area where all the sports arenas and stadiums in Philadelphia were. That's where the statue is. So if you ever want to look what the statue is, go to the art museum and say, "Hey, what's the statue?" The Rocky statue is by all the Citizens Bank Park where the Phillies play, the arena that the Flyers and the 76ers play in, and the football stadium where the Eagles play. It's in that area. So if you want to look for the Rocky statue, it's in that area. And he challenges him, and he found out from Mickey that all the 10 fights that he had, that Mickey handpicked these fighters. And he says, "Oh, how come?" And says, "Well, that's because you took such a beating in the two matches he had with Apollo that it should have killed you. You should be dead in being you guy." So that's why these were good fights, but they weren't, these killers like ringers. So he took the fight anyway, and of course that's before they were going out to the ring. And of course, Clubber Lang didn't want to wait to get into the ring to fight. They had a fight in the hallway, and Mickey gets pushed against the wall, and he gets a heart attack. And no spoiler, and he dies. While he's dying in the locker room, Rocky does lose to Clubber Lang in the ring in the second round. And guess who was at ringside? It was Apollo Creed was at ringside. And the first two films, Apollo was a jerk, and now all of a sudden become a nice guy because you have a bigger jerk in Mr. T in Clubber Lang with Mr. T character. So Apollo decides to train Rocky. So they go to California and get roped into Apollo's trainer, and other than, of course, Rocky, you had Paulie, and of course Apollo's trainer, played by Tony Byrne. Those are the only 3 characters in the whole Rocky universe that was in all 6 of the films. So a little bit of trivia there. Now, of course, they had the big training sequences with Rocky wasn't doing. Didn't have the confidence anymore. He was afraid he was going to lose again. But Adrian pumped up his confidence. He said, "Look, at least you lose with no excuses this time, and that's fine." I said, "Oh, okay." So he gets his confidence back, and It really boosted his confidence. They had the fight, and this is the first Rocky movie where you saw the entire fight from beginning to end, and not a montage of action. In the other films, because in the other films they had the full 15 rounds, so they sped it up for the movie, so they get in much time. And this time, back only about 3 rounds, so they showed the entire thing. So of course, Rocky wins and beats Clubber Lang in the end, and that's pretty much how. And what it ended was the scene when they went Mickey's gym with Apollo and Rocky doing a little sparring in the match. Fighting each other in the end there. And that's how the movie ends. So of course 3 years later, he goes and Rocky 3 made a moment. I think it's the most successful one of the 6 films, money wise. And of course Rocky 3 also has the famous overquoted line by Mr. T, "It pity the fool." Anyway, so the 4th movie came out in 1985, in November of 85, and it's the most predictable and most laughed at in the Rocky films. The most predictable and the shortest one, only an hour and a half. There's one where they bring in the whole US versus USSR thing. And one, a fighter from Russia played by Dolph Lundgren named Drago, and his wife was then Sylvester Stallone's wife, Brigitte Nielsen. And of course they had a fight, and of course Apollo wanted to fight him first because he's supposed to be this big patriotic guy. And of course he dies in the ring. But after that, Rocky wants to challenge him. Of course the boxing commission wouldn't do it because he felt that that Drago was so brutal that he would get killed too in the ring. So he gave up his title. He forfeited his title. He didn't want to be the champ anymore. He retired as champ. So he had like a grudge match against Drago, and so he goes to Russia, I think it was Siberia or something, and training. And he trains in a fashion way, chopping down trees, lifting rocks, running up a mountain, doing all these things. And meanwhile, Drago was doing all the stuff in the gym, in an actual gym. Using all these high-tech stuff and being injected with steroids. You do see one scene where Drago was injected with steroids. Because a lot of the Russian athletes, especially in the Olympics, were injected with steroids. For the Olympics. And Drago was being injected with steroids. You do see it for a couple of seconds, him being injected with steroids. So of course I think they had the big fight, and probably the fight seen around the world, and the fight where Apollo dies. It's called Death from Above. And during the fight with Apollo, when you backtrack a little bit, you see the great Warner Wolf, who was a great sportscaster in that movie. Anyway, of course, the big fight, of course, naturally what happens, Rocky, wins in the end. First, he was getting his rear kick for a good part of the film. And then, of course, the part of the film, the turning block, was when he hits Drago, cuts him. And of course, that's when he gets the inspiration to go pound this guy. And of course, it goes for full 15 rounds, as usual, in the Rocky film, and he won. And of course, that's how the 4th one ended, with Rocky giving a speech. If I could change, and you could change, everybody can change. Speech. And of course, it took 5 years to the end of Rocky 4 to make a 5th one. And of course, it picks up right where the 4th one left off, with Rocky in the shower. And he was shaking. He couldn't stop his hands from shaking. Because he punched so hard, his hands were shaking. He was like shaking all over, trembling. And of course, he found out that he had brain damage from the fight, because it was hit so hard, so many times by Drago. And of course, then you also found out that Paulie handed over a so-called power of attorney to the accountant. The accountant stole all of Rocky's money. Now Rocky's poor, and he goes back to the old neighborhood. In the meantime, you have this Don King ripoff trying to get Rocky to fight again. To fight the so-called cooler champ. Unless Rocky said no, because He couldn't get a license. That's all we get around that stuff. And he says, forget it. And then meanwhile, there was a young fighter named Tommy Morrison who recently died in 2013. And he was the nephew or the grandnephew of John Wayne. And he supposedly died of AIDS in reality. But in that movie, he was, a young heavyweight champ, or soon to be champ. In reality, he won a championship too. In reality, but in the movie, he was this young guy, and Rocky decides to train this guy. And of course, here's the hook idea. So the Don King ripoff convinces Tommy Morrison, who goes by the name Tommy Gunn in the film, to be in contact with him. He said, okay, I'll do that. And of course, he fights the champ, beats him in 1 round. And of course, the press is all over him. This is not a real champ, this is a joke. And of course, the cynical press, by the time this movie came out. And of course, in the end of the film, of course, he challenges Rocky to a fight, and said, no, forget it. And then what they had was a fight in the street, a street fight. And of course, the original ending was that Rocky was supposed to die in the street fight. And supposed to end the movie series right then and there. But in the last minute, of course, he changed it. And of course, Rocky 5 was directed by the original Rocky director, John Albertson. And of course, Rocky doesn't die at the end. And of course, the scene, and of course, he beats Tommy Gunn in the street fight. And of course, the last scene in the movie was Rocky and his real life son, Stage Solo, who of course also recently died. I think in 2011, 2012, he died of a drug overdose. The two of them running up the famous steps, and they put the Rocky statue back just for the 5th one. And the way it ended, it looks like it's going to be the last of the Rocky films. I didn't think that Rocky 5, even though Sylvester Stallone did not like Rocky 5, especially the way it was. That Rocky 5 didn't make all that much money either. But the Rocky movies, I liked the 3rd one. Of course, the first 2, of course, I liked. But the 3rd one, I still think the 3rd one is the best one. The 4th one, of course, is the most predictable and most laughed at of all the Rocky films. But the 5th one, I didn't think it was so bad because it had a good story to it, and of course, it did have a predictable ending. But it took about like 17 years for Sylvester Stallone to make another Rocky film. I think it was inspired for the 25th anniversary of the first film in 2001. Then he was trying to ship a script around, and nobody wanted to do a 6th one because he felt like it should have ended in 5. Because 5 was hyped as the last Rocky film. And so, let me do this one. So of course he did. And the 5th one, he directed himself, he wrote it himself. It was such a waste of time, and it was retitled Rocky Balboa. But at that time, the premise of that one, he's now running a restaurant in Philly. And of course, at the beginning of the film, he was towards his own apartment that he lived in. And of course, also the place where he was supposed to have the ice skating date with Adrian for the first film. And of course, the statue was taken out and removed. And of course, the big plot point was that he killed off Adrian. He supposedly was supposed to have cancer and died. But Adrian didn't even get a death scene. I don't think what Mickey got a death scene, Apollo got a death scene, but Adrian didn't, which was really disgusting, and that's what really got me mad for seeing this film. And of course, the 6th one, of course, they had a bit where they have, of course, actually, their video game era, where you have fighters of today fighting older fighters. Then you have, like, say, Mike Tyson fighting Ali, or Ali fighting Rocky Marciano, or Jack Dempsey fighting Mike Tyson. And the guy from, let's see, the 20s fighting a guy from the 80s or something in a video game. So I kind of did that with Rocky versus the current champ, and then Rocky beats him. So of course the actual champ is Oh, I got an idea. When we fight Rocky in an exhibition match. First, they didn't want to. When the licensing committee in Philadelphia or Vegas didn't want to do it because of Rocky's age. Now, they completely forgot the part that Mickey had brain damage. They completely skipped over, pretending that never happened, that he had brain damage for the fifth movie. They completely forgot about that. There's more concern of, uh, you Rocky's age is not his brain damage, supposed brain damage. When they made this big appeal, I said, okay, we do it. And of course, the ending of the movie was just like the ending was supposed to have been the ending for the first one. When Rocky does the fight, it was like a 10-round fight. And after the fight, he just walks out of the ring, walks up the aisle, and that's it. And goes through the curtain, goes to hold Adrian's hand, walks through the curtain, and goodbye. Well, that was the original ending for the first movie, but they changed the ending for the scene in the ring with Adrian and Rocky hugging each other, and each one saying, "Oh, I love you," back. So the ending for the original Rocky film was inserted into the sixth one. Of course, the scene that the final last scene was him in the cemetery at Adrian's grave. He gets up, puts the chair away up in the tree, walks away, and waves to the camera, and then he disappears, and that's how the Rocky series ended. And hopefully, God willing, there's not going to be another Rocky movie. Not after the God-awful of the sixth one. Another review of the Rocky series. I know I did that. I know I did this one because of the first one won the Academy Award for Best Picture. So I didn't think it was right just talking about the first one, and for the Academy Award winning series I've been doing lately. So that's not right. That's why I opened the first. I don't think it was right. Just talking about the first one and the hell with the rest of them. So that's my review of the Rocky movie series. Please, like my video. Please comment on it and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching. Catch you next time. Maybe I do another Academy Award winning film next. Catch you next time.